So I'm Richie Skye, the author and publisher of The Wickedest Wives, Desiree's Desire, which is book 1 in a series. This book is about redemption. It's the story of a disgraced journalist who has lost everything. And now she has to rebuild her life brick by brick. And what better way to do that than to join a reality TV show? Why not? Now, not only are we talking reality TV, so you know there's gonna be scandal, you know there's gonna be a little bit of deception, backstabbing, a little romance, and why not throw in a sprinkle of murder to really round out the excitement? So I really want you guys to dive headfirst into these books. Desiree's Desire is just the first of many to come. So I'm super excited for you guys to read this, and I want to know exactly what you think. So be sure to follow, like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. What is going on, y'all? What is going on up in this good old jamboree? Okay. I see we got a couple of people in the chat real quick. I'm trying to send a little message to the texting community to send it out right now. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay. Let's get into it. Y'all, we are in the building for a little late night creep, okay? We are in the building for a little emergency late night creep. Now, typically, y'all know I don't go live this late, and I typically like to wait till the morning. However, let's get into what is going on down to the streets, all right? So, it looks like our friends over at the Neighborhood Talk have gotten the exclusive, okay? While Candy has officially announced that she has quit the Real Housewives of Atlanta ahead of season 16, we had gotten word from Kenya that the cast was taking shape, right? So that led me to believe that Kenya was going to be a part of the cast, right? Now, let's get into what the tea is with the Neighborhood Talk. So they report the exclusive, all right, that 2 OGs will be part of the cast. Now, they say they spoke exclusively with a close source to the Peaches, who confirmed that Porsha Williams and Kenya Moore are locked in for season 16. They say we haven't seen Porsha since she left the franchise after season 13, shortly after she announced that she was engaged to her now husband, Simon Guobadia. Many viewers felt that Porsha was running from the smoke after many speculated that she had allegedly stolen Simon from her former acquaintance, Fallon. So it'll be interesting to see Porsha's new family dynamic play out on camera with the other ladies. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen, Kenya Moore did an interview that basically echoed a sentiment about what great television she and Porsha made. Now, this was floating around a little earlier. I cannot recall where I saw it. Actually, I'm about to pull it up now. I do remember where I saw it at. Because I was like, this is very interesting. So give me 1 second. We're going to go over to the Real Housewives zone. Because y'all know I like to do what we call show and tell, so I can show you where I got the information from earlier, so we can talk about that as well. All right. So what happened here was, and this came out a while ago via Page 6, right? So it says in an exclusive interview with Bernie Zilio, from page 6. Kenya Moore has said that she is open to once again sharing the screen with her former Real Housewives of Atlanta co-star Porsha Williams. She says, I think we made great TV together. You know, I think we're the best frenemies. Some of the best times on that show have been created with me and Porsha. Some of the most iconic moments have been created with us being on screen together. So I feel like that magic could still exist if she comes back. Then she went on to state that casting for the forthcoming season is almost finalized. She predicted that the process will be complete within the next 30 days and that filming will begin in the spring. She says, I think they're 100% focused on creating a dynamic new cast with some oldies and some newbies. So we'll see. We'll see. Season 16 might be just as sweet as you want it to be. Now, if you guys listen to Radio Andy, what you guys will have heard today was, let me give you guys, because you know, I like to, again, like I said, we like to do a little show and tell. And I'm just putting together all the pieces that I was kind of trying to wait for. But it seems as though since this information has been leaked, and don't worry, for those of you guys who, I can't play this because it came from Radio Andy, but I will show it to you and I'll put it in the description down below. And I'm going to basically give you the gist of what he said today. But essentially, he talked about how great he felt like Candy was. He gave Candy a bunch of flowers on his radio show. And he really said that he wanted to keep today's discussion to, you know, giving Candy her flowers. But he said that tomorrow he intended to perhaps talk about what season 16 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta would look like, right? So I would assume that we're very close to some type of announcement as to who at least is going to be returning. Now, the question is, who will round out a cast with Kenya and Porsha? Now, it would be interesting to me if they also invited Kenya's friend Akila, because as you guys know, she was in the mix quite a bit with Kenya posting her. She was at events. She is married. I think she has a child. I feel like I've seen her also in photos with Porsha and big groups there. So I feel like Akila could potentially be a great candidate for somebody who would be an intermediary between the two. Not really an intermediary, but at least somebody that is somewhat connected to the both of these ladies. I could see that happening. And I do wonder if they will bring back Sheree or Marlo. For me, Marlo would probably be a no for this mix because, as you guys will recall, last we left off, Marlo was not in a good space with Kenya. And last she left with Porsha, she wasn't in a good space with her. The only person that she would have been in a good space with if they were to bring her back would be Sheree. So they would probably most likely have to bring back Sheree if they brought back Marlo, but they don't need to bring back Marlo in order to bring back Sheree. I think it's likely or highly likely that they may end up bringing Sheree back simply because she is technically the last standing OG of the group, meaning someone who was there from season one. And for these shows, we know they typically like to keep someone who has been a mainstay on the show, at least from the very beginning. We can look at Miami. We can look at Miami. We could look at um, Orange County. Well, Orange County, that's not really the best example, but they brought back Tamara. Beverly Hills with Kyle, and at least from what we can see, New Jersey. But they could pull a whammy on us like they did with New York and just say skedaddle to you too, Sheree. But given that Sheree is also on Traders right now, I'm assuming that the network will probably want to keep that relationship with her. So I don't necessarily know if I see them getting rid of her. I've heard a lot of people talking about the potential of bringing back LaToya, since she also has recently just had a child, and I don't know what her relationship status is though. And I did feel like LaToya was gone a little bit too soon, but I don't know if she was a little too much for the Housewives brand in that during that time. But based on her social media now, I could kind of see it. You know what I'm saying? I could see that, especially if they're looking to go with, women with families and that sort of thing. And I think also having Portia back, I want to see that dynamic. And I'm going to tell y'all the truth. For me, Portia is what was missing from this show for the past several seasons. Portia, if you guys saw her on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, she just brings an element of effervescence, of fun. I feel like she's somebody that doesn't necessarily take herself too seriously, at least from what the camera shows. And I do agree with Kenya that Portia and Kenya make for the best of frenemies. I would actually prefer to see them more as friends in this coming season more than anything else. But with this announcement, my assumption would also be that we would probably see or hear something a little bit more firm and a little bit more concrete in the next several days. But let me know if you guys are into this. Now, I see a lot of people mentioning Phaedra now that Candy is gone, because we know that Candy has said before that she would be uninterested in filming with Phaedra. I just think it would be a little bit messy at this point to then take Phaedra from Married to Medicine, then switch her back over to Housewives. Even though I kind of feel like she's not really making the impact that we would have thought that she would on Married to Medicine, I just don't see them doing that, to be quite honest with you. Um, Personally, I feel like I would want them to bring in, some more, women with families, because I feel like the husbands add a great dynamic. If they have a large family, I felt like that adds a dynamic to it. That's the cool thing with Portia. She already has that family dynamic, not only with her side of the family, but, in addition to, now she has Simon and his, everything that comes along with Simon as well. And in this respect, I mean, the possibilities are open now. I see a lot of people mentioning Drew. I see some people have mentioned Tamar in the chat. I see somebody has mentioned Jesse Wu. I know that Jesse Wu did Love and Hip Hop not Atlanta. I'm sorry. I think it was Miami. I don't know if she would be, or was it Atlanta? She did one of the Love and Hip Hops. I don't know if she would go back to that. I just don't see her doing that. I see a lot of people saying Eva. I don't know that Eva would be interested in coming back to the Housewives full time, especially given that last we left her with Portia, things weren't not that good. I don't know. Um, I don't know. I would prefer, I think, if we're basing this around Kenya and Portia, I would prefer to see organic friendships with people that they already know. And I also kind of don't necessarily know that we need any of the older ladies to come back. Like, no shade, but to me, Drew was difficult, in my opinion, because while I understand that she was going through a divorce and she didn't want to talk much about it, it's kind of like, well, if we're not going to be able to see what's really going on, then you should probably just keep that off reality TV until you've gotten that settled and you can come back and be open about what you're really doing and and a lot of people I see in the chat, people are saying that really honestly, I think people just don't believe the things that Drew says. So that is another aspect as well, right? So I don't know. I'm kind of interested to see what they pull out of the hat. I have definitely heard a couple of other interesting names that you guys have all heard of before, but I really don't know how much of that will land. And I think things have been kind of shaken up just a bit now that Candy has announced her departure, because they may have been trying to build around Candy, Kenya, and maybe Porsha. I don't know. But I'm assuming that once Candy left, that budget definitely opened up. Okay. So anyway, let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section down below. I'm super excited now that I know that Porsha is coming back, because again, I feel like the fun has been missing, the laughs has been missing, and I feel like we'll finally get that feeling about that we miss from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because Atlanta was always funny. It was funny shade. It was over the top, like, looks and things like that. And I feel like we've gotten so far away from that I hope that this is ushering in, a brand new era that feels much more similar to what we're accustomed to with Atlanta. All right. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, type your names down in the chatterization down below. I love hearing your theories as well, because listen, the fans are what make these shows so great. So people like us throwing out names is always fun to kind of see what could possibly happen now that we're moving forward. All right. So let me know what you guys think, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Like this video if you like reality TV related content. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.